And in this video, we're going to be updating the user information in the database. We've created the forms, and so we just need to update the user information in the database. But mind you, this is going to be a little technical because we're actually having the roles and the permission now, and we need to check against that. If the roles has changed, if the permission has changed, we need to update those roles and permission respectively. So let's get started, and yeah, so let's start. And right here, the first thing I need to do is I need to toggle between the update user and create user. So in a previous video, we created this mode, which is edit mode. Let's just copy that and come over right here and say if edit mode is true. If the edit mode is true, we want to use the create user method, and if not, we want to use the update user method. Hopefully this makes sense to you. This is another way of using if or if and if else statement, if else statement. So this is just a shorthand of writing it. So let's just create the update user method. I'm actually going to copy this. And this dot load false. This will be up update user. And this is actually not yet. So right here, I'm just going to say updating. And for the error message, cannot update user information. And the model, I want to hide the model, and I want to trigger the event box. I want to reset the form. Yeah, so this will be a put method. So we need an ID, and right here let's just put an ID. ID will be empty. And right here let's just put the ID right here, and let's just say this dot form dot ID. So right here we need account dot create. We're just going to say update so this will be a put method, and right here we're going to have an ID. So right here, let's just say slash is.form.id. So this will be update. Hopefully we got that correct. Right here, we're just going to return $sign request. We're just going to say all request. So let's check our network tab. Let's come over to edit and let's just send this right here. Password field is required. And this still go over to the crate, and let's see and try to fix the error right here. And the first error I notice is this. So let's try to fix this error. If edit mode is true, go over to crate. The edit mode is always false. So let's just do this. Let's wait for that to reload. And yeah, so let's refresh. So let's try this again and let's see. Another update. So we are doing updates right now, and the first thing we get is the error we got is not for route error input request, and we can actually get the ID. So let's check our view and let's check the form. The ID is 6. So I made a mistake. We don't need this. We actually need the plus sign. Let's refresh. So network, let's see our response. So this is the request we sent, and we're getting the response back too. Just the email. We have the email. We have the email. Phone number. We got the phone number. So we have everything back, and we have access to all the requests right here. And let's just see the ID if we get it, the ID. So let's check the ID and send the request. So we're getting the ID too, so which is a good thing. And the next thing we want to do is validate against this. So if you're updating the user info, we want to validate, and we want the name to be required, the phone number to be required, and the password we just want it to be nullable. And what nullable actually does is, if you don't enter a password, if we don't enter any value, it won't validate it. But once you enter a value, it's going to validate it. And the role, I want the role to be required, but I want the email not to be required. So for the email, So for the email, I'm just going to do email $ID. What is actually going to do is going to check the email. If the email belongs to the user, it's not going to validate against it. But if the email belongs to other users, it's going to validate against it. So you can't use an email that belongs to other users. But if the email belongs to you, you can totally use it. So we've created the validation. Let's just check that out and see if it works. So I'm just going to cancel the name and update user. I got an error and the name field is required. So if I should click save now, information has been saved. So the next thing we need to do is actually get the user. So let's just say user $user. I'm just going to use the find or fail method and then just say ID user. So the next thing we need to do is we want to update user name equal to $request name email, and for the password we don't want to change the password unless the password is not equal to empty. So we'll say if, remember in our request right here, we're not sending the password, and we need to actually, in our request right here, we need to actually send the password. So right here, okay, we sending the password, but it's not showing right here because it's the password. So if we should show our response, let's see right here, let's see $return $request get request as password. So this should return just the password to us. I think I have an error right there. So we have an error right here, which is this. So let's try this again. So we don't have any password right here. We don't have any password in the request we're sending, but we should enter a password right here. Let's see what happens. So we have the password right here. So we have the password, and which is actually a good thing, because we can just say if the request has a password, return do this. If it doesn't, do that. So let's try that again and see. Right here we have a true that shows the request has a password, and if it doesn't, let's just say we're not getting anything. So we're getting false, which is a good sign. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to say if $request has password, we're going to say $user password equal to bcrypt. This will be a bcrypt $request password. So the next thing we're going to do is actually take care of the rows. So we're going to say if the request has rows, that means if the request has a row, the request will always have a row because it's required. We want to get the rows, then remove previous rows and assign a new row. So to do that, we going to use the if statement too, and we say request as row, that this is going to be a string. So we want to get the list of the row names for the user. So user rows equal to $user get row names. So after we've gotten that, we want to remove all those rows. So let's just use the for each statement $user row as row as $row. We now say user remove. Let's just see a function we can use to remove the rows, which is this remove rows. So let's just use that. So this is going to remove all the rows, and right here we want to say $user assign row, which will be $request row. Hopefully you understand what happened here. Right here we want to get the list of all the rows that belong to the user and remove all those rows and then assign the new rows to the user. So we're going to do the same thing to the permission. So this will be permissions. So right here we can invoke permission to. So right here we can say when it says permission can be removed from a row. We don't want that. We actually want to so we just want to remove permission from a user. I think this should do too. So right here, let's just say user permission, user permissions, get permissions. So after that, we're just going to update, save this user, and we're going to return a response. And this will be a JSON, and we're just going to say okay. And this will be a status code of 200. So let's try this again, and let's just say update. We didn't get any error, which is a good sign that everything works okay. Let's just see that, and we see okay. So let's try that again. Let's try to change this user role to admin. Let's click update. So you can see the role has been changed to admin. Let's change it back to an editor and click update. So you can see updated. And let's try to do with the permission. Let's create that. And right here you can see the list of all the permission. Let's remove this. So we have that right here. So that's how you can edit a user information. Let's just see this. So you can see the name. So that's how you can edit a user information. And in the next video, we're going to go to delete user. And we don't really want to delete the user, but we just want to use a soft delete. So I'll see you in the next video, and yeah, bye guys.